Welcome to the Goddess Wisdom Podcast. Unveil your inner goddess and weave your sacred life. Join me, Maureen Keefe, the guiding goddess for this journey, and discover ways to claim the power of your divine nature. Explore how to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary and the mundane into the magical. Are you ready to embark on this journey? I invite you to dip your toes into the world of goddess wisdom. Join me now and let the magic begin. Welcome, goddesses. I invite and welcome you into the realms of goddess wisdom. Thank you for joining me for episode 6 of the Goddess Wisdom Podcast. Emotions as our guides for direction, healing, happiness, and connection. When it comes to reclaiming the honor and power of goddess wisdom, we only need to explore what is denigrated about women to reveal where our true power lies. Today, we're going to explore emotions. We'll be bringing forth a number of ways emotions can be prime movers for personal growth, healing, meaningful connection, and positive change. Knowing this information will enable us to harness the power that emotions possess. Learning how to channel this power provides the potential to change our lives and our world in wonderful ways. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. My name is Maureen Keefe, and I'm your guiding goddess for this journey. I encourage you to begin your goddess wisdom journey of discovery with the original episode, the debut and virgin episode of Goddess Wisdom Podcast. Each episode has energies of divine feminine woven through them, igniting activations within you. These activations and energies stir your own personal awakening along the path of your sacred journey, a journey of unveiling your inner goddess and weaving your sacred life. Recording your experiences in some manner for personal reference is highly recommended. I assure you, it will be the gift that keeps on giving to you for the rest of your life. Even if you have been exploring, expanding, and evolving for some time, I still encourage you to record your experiences here. You're being called to a new level of accountability and ways of expressing your soul's pure essence. Hello, everybody. Before we begin exploring how emotions are our guides, which can be accessed to powerfully inform and support us in our lives, let's align with our divinity. I invoke into our realms the essence and spirit of the goddess of goddess wisdom, the overarching divine feminine principle of all that is. We welcome the pure divine feminine essence that has flowed through all goddesses that have come before us and is awakening us to her presence within us now, men and women alike. I open to remember and bring through this wisdom in its purest form for all who will hear this. So a year ago, when a goddess sister and I were delving into creating Goddess Wisdom podcast together, I witnessed it calling me forward in all ways. I recognized that it was an initiation. When my friend stepped out of the creation, I knew I was being called to enter into direct partnership with the divine feminine. It's important to recognize that we all can choose to enter into direct partnership with the divine feminine. Ultimately, it's what this podcast is about. Your own connection with your own inner goddess, your personal connection to the divine feminine. Know that nothing will grow and evolve you faster. Consciously engaging with big power will result in big changes. Do note, though, big changes are going to involve growing pains and emotional processing as part of integration and expansion. So, as part of this partnership, I allow myself to be guided regarding what information is meant to be shared in each episode. This episode is being released late. As it was the case last time, this is due to bumping up against a lot of intense emotions while preparing and creating it. As time was ticking, I was spiraling deeper and deeper into emotional realms while getting increasingly more stressed about not making my weekly deadline. Again. That alone was spinning out my inner perfectionist, and although I prefer to keep my word about committing to a weekly release, it can only happen when it's ready, kind of like giving birth. Research was taking a lot more time than I had, and I was getting more mired down by my intensifying emotions from many sources in my life by the minute. Emotions are powerful facets of the divine feminine. Emotions contain a treasure trove of information for us to access when we acknowledge them. I was aware of my feelings. I was allowing myself to feel them. I was observing them, but I was not honoring them. I wanted to shove them aside so I could make progress on the podcast. They just kept getting louder and louder. And at the time, I was nowhere near landing the topic and flow for this episode. Then, out of the blue, I finally got the memo. It dawned on me that, just like in my psychic readings, whatever presents in the experience is guidance. What is presenting holds fertile seeds for growth or awareness if I consciously choose to pay attention and take note. So, I bowed to the goddess as I realized she had information to express through my emotional experience. Just like we have all been trained to adhere to patriarchal value systems in our cultural programming, I was devaluing the power and wisdom that emotions and the experience of honoring my emotions held for me. Here's what was happening in my life. Initially, the predominant emotional issue was that I was being haunted by my friend's recent suicide. To be clear, he was not haunting me. Given he had died in the manner he did when I first heard the news, I immediately checked in to see if he had transitioned properly through the veils. He had not. Gratefully, I know how to assist souls in this situation, so I facilitated his transition. This is very sacred service whenever we do this for someone. For more information regarding what I'm talking about, you can get the book The Unquiet Dead by Dr. Edith Fiore, and or read my description for one of my services called Kick Out SOBs, Souls on Board. Find links in our episode 6 show notes page at goddesswisdompodcast.com. If you have someone near you who has passed and you suspect they have not moved on properly, please book a session with me at maureenkeefe.com/services. It's out of divine order when this happens, and it will cause challenges and problems for all concerned until divine order is restored. So, as another level of follow up after my friend's death, I also cleared the land where he took his last breath. When thoughts of him kept presenting, I checked in to see if he was trying to get me to bring a message through for him for loved ones, and I got a no. And I have checked in on that a number of times because these feelings were so persistent. So I knew he was not lingering, and neither were the entities that contributed to the choice he had made in that moment. Yet when I would take a shower or a bath, he was heavy on my mind and heart. There's nothing weird here. He was a handyman, and he had fixed the leak in my tub faucet. I would think of him when I would get dressed. He had fixed my closet, reinforcing the framing that the clothes rod and shelf were anchored into the wall with. Over the years, he had fixed a number of things in my home. I didn't realize what a comfort it was to know that there was someone I liked and trusted who could help me like that. All of my interactions with him had been very pleasant. The tragedy that he possessed that level of anguish in his heart broke mine. He never gave any hint at all of this in all the years I knew him. So that is one reason his death was so heavy on my mind and heart. When someone commits suicide, it feels so senseless. As I mentioned before in episode 3, I was mindful not to get caught in the empath's trap of suffering over others' suffering. That is just food for shadow and low vibrational entities, as is all unnecessary suffering. I am not saying it's not okay to grieve someone's passing or to feel sad or upset regarding another's hardship. Just do not lose yourself in it. It is just as important that you do not lose yourself in your own suffering. Another's suffering or death will trigger our own process if we have unresolved grief or trauma around these or similar life experiences. It's important to resolve these painful feelings so they stop governing our lives. So be sure to engage in radical self-care if you find yourself in this situation. Feel your feelings and get help moving through them if you need it. I'm a trauma clearing specialist, so if you'd like to work with me, go to maureenkeefe.com/services and book a session. So this was another level of my experience. I have lost a lot of loved ones over the years, and I was present for a number of them when they departed. So my friend's passing provided the opportunity to check in and feel my feelings, to see if I had stuffed things away that I was unaware of. And I had, and it was time to take time to acknowledge this. Sometimes when you get to a place of forgiveness regarding people who've passed, you need to grieve their loss all over again. This happens in breakups too. I would not let myself feel my feelings of a loss when a very notable but toxic relationship in my life had ended. I was afraid that if I'd opened my heart to feel my sadness regarding this ending, that I would want to go back to this person. It was not until he died that I was able to grieve this loss as well as his passing. So just to make sure I did not miss this opportunity, the goddess wove another friend's experience into my own. My friend Rowan recently experienced the passing of an ex. Her relationship experience remarkably paralleled the one I just mentioned. She was actually supposed to come out to visit me when the death of her former beloved changed the plan. I was grateful for the opportunity to engage with Rowan as she processed through this loss. Seeking to provide support for her closure, I found myself being graced with the opportunity to claim my own. Rowan is also a visionary healer and author. She has touched many lives with her resource-packed visionary fictional memoir, Motorcycles, Madness, and Miracles, A Badass Journey to Empowerment. Eric Utney, the founder of the Utney Reader, referred to her as Rowan Glazer is a goddess for our time, the healer on a Harley. She is a triumphant survivor with the heart of a lion and the voice of a poet. You can find a link for her book on our episode 6 show notes page at goddesswisdompodcast.com. Just like the process of creating the podcast, the sacred journey of grief takes as long as it takes. No one can tell you when you should be done grieving. You'll know when you're ready to move on. Again, do take care not to get lost in it. People truly are suffering these days. It's in our faces, on television, news reports, radio, magazines, and social media. I have a 25-year-old friend, Solomon, in Nigeria. He's like the son of my heart. He accompanied his friend to the bank last Friday, and while there, his friend was shot by a stray bullet. There was a change of currency in his country, and there were protesters protesting this, and crisis broke out. He said there were riots and people were burning down banks. He and his friend did not go there to be a part of this. They were just going to the bank. What were you doing at 25 years old? My friend Sol, with the help of other bystanders, was dragging his friend Maxwell to the hospital to save his life from a gunshot wound. This is just one of the many things happening in Nigeria that has him terrified for his life and for his family's safety every day. I reached out to him while writing this and found out that his friend had died. Solomon shared that he had no one to turn to for human contact, that he was alone in the shelter that he and his friend shared in the village, that he just needed someone to hug him and tell him it was going to be all right. To get home to his family in the area he originally fled from would be at a great risk of getting killed on the streets en route. His mother is currently sick with cholera. It sounds like a horribly bad movie, but this is his life. He lives in a different world, and right now it is truly a nightmare, and it seems to get worse by the minute. I spoke with him in a video call. We were afraid to hang up for fear it would be the last time we might speak. I have never felt more helpless and powerless in my life. My friend Solomon now must move. He has no money in a country of unrest. If anyone has any solutions, answers, or means of getting him to a safe place, preferably out of the country, please send me a message on Messenger. I would like to ask for your support in sending my friend Sol, his friend Maxwell, and Maxwell's family and friends love, encouragement, healing, peace, and hope for a better tomorrow. If you would, please put your hand on your heart or your hands in prayer mudra in front of your heart. This activates your heart center and amplifies anything you focus on. Take a deep breath and breathe a cord of light from your heart down into the heart of Mother Earth. Feel her mother love flow up into your heart, filling every cell of your body with her love. Next, breathe light up into the heavenly realms beyond the matrix, connecting with pure source energy, the source of all of creation. Feel the light of heavenly love, divine perfection, and pure life force flow to your heart center, growing brighter as it mingles with your love for Mother Earth, her love for you, your love for the Creator, mingling with the Creator's love for you. Feel this radiance grow brighter and bigger and brighter and bigger as you build up this love in your heart. When you're ready, envision sending this love to Solomon, to Maxwell through the veils, to his family and friends, and to anyone else who needs this love and comfort now, including ourselves. If you can, just keep flowing this love throughout the planet for as long as you're called to. You can do this again and again as sacred service whenever you think to do so. Many people I know are struggling. Every night when I pick up the phone to give psychic readings and guidance, I hear call after call of people's turmoil, fear, confusion, heartache, and the full spectrum of life challenges. When dealing with another's struggles, one of the most powerful things we can do for them is to send love. We can also activate heaven on earth within them through our intention. Unless, of course, you can actually go and be with them in person. Human touch and, like soul needs, a hug can be the greatest comfort of all. If you would like to be led through activating heaven on earth, I do so in Goddess Wisdom Podcast Episode 4. As time passes, emotional circumstances continue to escalate in my life. In self-preservation, I've turned to a practice I find great comfort in. I'd like to share that with you. It's an ancient Hawaiian practice called Ho'oponopono. I heard about it decades ago, but never embraced it. You choose an issue or person that's upsetting you and you say, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you." At that time, the things that upset me most were usually about people who had done me wrong. So the apology thing was not really working for me. I discovered later, though, that the practice is essentially about righting wrongs. This information finally clicked for me on a deep level when it was presented in a video by Dr. Hugh Len. He had worked in a mental hospital for the criminally insane. The results he got with these patients were staggering. Yet he never once spoke to them in person. He only worked with their files, and he did this practice on himself. Dr. Hugh Len explains, the problem resides within me. When I pray to heal within me what is causing this problem. And then I do the practice of, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I am healing the issue at its origin. He shares that this is about 100% accountability. If you're bumping up against this with resistance, it's important to recognize that we're all one. Also, that we contain worlds of information within us. See yourself as an unlimited being, and you will really be able to step into doing this type of sacred service. If you feel that this work is actually focusing on something you do not want, you can set your intention instead to claim, I claim the wholeness of this situation within me, or I claim the highest expression of divine light regarding this situation within me. Find a way to make it align for you. So if you would, join me in trying the traditional format of the Ho'oponopono practice right now. So take a moment to identify some form of suffering that is yours or someone else who is close to you, and then set the intention stating out loud or to yourself, I heal within me all that is causing this problem. Then say to yourself, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Keep repeating this until you feel a shift. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Keep saying it until you feel resolved, complete, or lighter. You may discover that even in just these brief few moments, you're feeling more at peace. That is the power of Ho'oponopono. I hope you explore working with that practice. In time, you'll find yourself in a walking meditation as you witness wrongs you desire to be righted. It would mean the world to me if you could take a few minutes in the coming days and focus on Solomon reclaiming his center, feeling safe, and making connections. Blessings to you and yours for this. Energetically, the Ho'oponopono practice feels very similar to my trauma clearing meditation. I combine them as I do the practice, focusing on the sensation of this energy in my body, observing it, and repeating the prayer until that sensation shifts or diminishes. That sensation can feel like heartache, for example. If you've not heard of my trauma clearing meditation, find a link in our show notes for episode 6 at goddesswisdompodcast.com. It will take you to our membership portal where you can find it under free resources. You can also find a link for the Dr. Hugh Len video interview in today's episode 6 show notes as well. So to circle back to the original discussion and why my friend's passing had continued to demand my attention, recently I have begun opening my heart to love. It's been a journey of self-love. Of course, now it's being revealed to me that there is a vacuum of unmet needs dating back to childhood that I am just beginning to tend to. My friend's passing is a tangible loss of someone that I could turn to for help. This sense of loss lingers to heighten my awareness that I really do need to have people I can turn to in my life. Once we allow ourselves to feel this vulnerability, we will be called to cultivate those connections. I know many others are in the throngs of this as part of their healing journeys too. When we slip into survival, we feel like we're alone in this game called life. But in truth, we really are in this together. We need each other. But because what is going on in our inner realms is projected onto our outer realms as a feedback loop, if we're not showing up for ourselves, it'll be difficult for others to do so as well. If we're not loving ourselves, we make it hard for others to love us in the ways that we desire. Or we simply will not be able to see it. Or we will draw on people that will treat us the way we're treating ourselves. It's important that we begin giving voice to the guidance and wisdom our emotions offer us. It's how we begin to reclaim and restore honor to this profound and readily available divine feminine way of knowing. I invited you into my human journey, sharing my personal experiences and the wisdom I gain from them. I encourage all of you to practice reconnecting to others through meaningful communication in this manner. In the last few years, social programming has made us gun shy about sharing our thoughts and feelings for fear of being attacked, rejected, or ostracized. This has resulted in many of us disconnecting from sharing and in socially engaging with others. On the other hand, the current fear mongering we're being subjected to has us trauma triggered. Part of the fallout from trauma is that we're more likely to overshare and verbally unload all the horrors we've endured. This is being referred to as trauma dumping, and it is the loss of perception of appropriate sharing in social settings. I'm not talking about confiding in a friend seeking support. This is sharing our upsetting experiences with anyone you meet, everywhere you go, no matter how personal and no matter how briefly you've known them for. Carolyn Mace, in her book, Why People Don't Heal and How They Can, addresses what she calls woundology. This is a strategy of sharing your wounds, traumas, mishaps, injustices, etc. when you meet someone for the purpose of creating connection. She emphasizes your biography becomes your biology, and how we manifest illness or anchor it in when we can't let go of our past pain. Repeated again and again over time, it actually becomes our identity, allowing the bad things that have happened to define us and our life. Instead of a path of healing, which is about empowerment and recovery, it's going about getting the attention and treatment we want by claiming the role of being a victim. Many of us felt powerless and invisible as children. That is a deep wound that results in an amplified need to have an impact on others, to get a reaction, whether positive or negative. Shock factor is one way of doing this. If you recognize yourself in this scenario, realize there is so much more of you to embrace and share. Don't beat yourself up. Get Carolyn's book and also invest in Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. Or get the course I created that's based on that book, Support Through Codependent No More, which is value-packed with extra resources and insights to facilitate your journey of empowerment. You can find links for these on episode 6 show notes on our website at goddesswisdompodcast.com. It's time to embrace our power and our magnificence and end the playing small to feel safe game that our survival programs has us confined by. So clearly, the divine feminine wanted me to illuminate the power and wisdom of our emotions. Feeling our feelings gives us an immediate gauge of where we're at and what we need. Mindfully sharing our feelings with others helps us evolve and grow and meaningfully connect with others. Healing unresolved emotions and trauma is necessary in order for us to move forward in our lives, able to claim our fullest potential. Until we do, we'll continue to recycle painful life experiences until they finally get our full attention. There is so much more to be said about emotions, not just the raw, rugged, challenging side. As an example, emotions can also enable us to express our soul's pure essence. Song lyrics, poetry, paintings, sculpture, other forms of art are all expressions of our soul's pure essence. Emotions fuel our visions, inspire engagement in relationships, call us forward toward pleasure, or to try new things, to go to new places, etc. Emotions promote action and more. For our entire lives, we've been led to believe that emotions and emotional expression is a form of instability. We now know that emotions hold within them rich worlds waiting to be expressed and brought to form in our physical realms. There is big power here. Emotions equal energy in motion. It is the energy that puts momentum behind our manifestations becoming real. No longer will we be bound by outmoded belief systems that deny these vital aspects and expressions of our true nature. When we learn to heed and honor our emotions and our emotional processing as an integral part of our guidance system, we reclaim our power and our sovereign authority over our own lives. Our discernment will be sharper and more immediately available to us. We will know when things are off, being misrepresented, or not right for us. Just like we will know when things are in divine alignment for our greatest good, fulfillment, and happiness. So let the journey begin by claiming the power of your emotions. If you have questions on this or other topics, I would love to hear from you. Drop in questions on YouTube, Facebook Messenger, or on our episodes page, and I'll be sure to respond. Your questions will help others. We are in this together. So I would like to express gratitude for some recent goddess trill-worthy accolades. Rachel Naomi Lees, my beautiful goddess sister in the Czech Republic, shared this glorious referral on Facebook. I highly encourage you, my sisters, to absorb the wisdom of Maureen Keefe's work. I have known Maureen for many years, and she is pure, wild wisdom. Rachel has regularly been sharing the Goddess Wisdom podcast episodes in her social media posts. Thank you for your amazing support, glorious goddess. Rachel also wrote a rave review for me for Intuition Matters Unveiled. I am you. I have known Maureen for a while now, and this woman embodies compassion, wisdom, inner standing, and gifts which she shares with generosity and kindness. Her intuitive psychic abilities are acutely accurate and empowering, and the group to come will become a haven for many to rise at this time of ascension. This beloved sister, Rachel Naomi Lees, is a gifted healer's healer, weaving her sacred arts into a ceremonial experience with her many talents. She has created a Facebook group, Healer's Phone Book, Health and Wellness. Join the tribe and unite in her healing vision. Goddess blessings to you, my sister, Rachel Naomi Lees. Look for links to her on the show notes page for episode 6 at goddesswisdompodcast.com. So as part of my closing ritual, I also like to acknowledge goddesses that have contributed to my life in various ways. Today, I want to celebrate a staggeringly impressive goddess, Leanne Buck, the creatrix and editor-in-chief at Om Times Media, as well as numerous other online publications. In all the years I have enjoyed the top shelf online magazine called Om Times Media, I never dreamed I would have an opportunity to speak directly with the person who created it. I have recently had the honor and privilege of talking with Leanne. And not only that, I have been welcomed into the Om Times Media family as one of their writers. Leanne Buck's vision is ever expanding, always with the intention to connect, uplift, and inspire. She has her irons successfully in so many fires that I am convinced she has mastered bending time along with harnessing the assistance of herself in all of her parallel lives in this moment called now. She is truly a role model extraordinaire. Leanne is also co-founder of Humanity Healing International and Humanity Healing Network, and she is a board member of St. Lazarus Relief Fund. Her most recent creation is the Om Times Media OMIS Awards. This is an international conscious media awards platform spotlighting the luminaries of the spiritual and conscious community. Find contact links for this voting opportunity and to discover the many fruits of her expansive vision on our show notes page for episode 6 at goddesswisdompodcast.com. Thank you, Leanne, for being such a brilliantly shining light. So until next time, emotionally empowered goddesses, blessings and love from your guiding goddess of the Goddess Wisdom Podcast, Maureen Keefe. I want to thank you for joining me today for the Goddess Wisdom Podcast. Unveil your inner goddess and weave your sacred life with Maureen Keefe. To discover more about Maureen's Ascension Coaching for taking your life to the next level and to unveil your fullest potential facilitated by her transformational talents, you can find her services at maureenkeefe.com. I look forward to you joining me on another Goddess Wisdom Podcast adventure. Until then, may your journey be blessed in all ways with love and gratitude from your guiding goddess, Maureen Keefe.